City on the Hill finally began its legislative session today as the committees convened to begin the process of legislating. We cover the controversial fight over airsoft guns and whether or not they should be painted pink. Which bills passed committee today? And at the end of the night, which leader is holding all the cards? You're in the right place for all your city political questions. The Koth Report starts now. Good evening, I'm Joel Reedy, and you're watching the Koth Report for June 24th, 2011. The legislative hurricane finally made landfall today in a flurry of committee activity. In the case of SB 798, one legislator's desire to make airsoft guns more easily identifiable as toys places him at the eye of a larger political storm that's raging over the role of government in the private sector. Anthony Rollins gives us a special report on Conor Gilliland and his bill. The City California legislators began about the paramount task of considering the legislation proposed by their colleagues today with a level of awe-inspiring focus. Perhaps the hardest part of a legislator's job is overcoming the objections of one's opponents to his proposed legislation, such as the current task of Assemblyman Conor Gilliland, whose bill SB 798 was brought before committee today.
This bill is to not completely illegalize the guns, but it is to illegalize airsoft guns that are colored black.
That is true. It would be easier for a cop to see a pink or transparent gun than a black one and notice that that is an airsoft gun, not a real gun. But in a situation of danger, you shouldn't pull out anything that looks anything like a gun. You shouldn't reach into your coat for a comb.
Assemblyman Hoffman thinks this is an issue of common sense.
If people really think about what the decision they're making, they will agree. We don't need to be wasting government money on this type of stuff.
Assemblyman Gilliland demonstrated his concern by use of a recent news story.
I stated an example of a bunch of kids that went near not on but near school grounds to play airsoft, and because of their guns looked real to a teacher, the teacher dialed 911. The police department showed up. All the kids got arrested. Guns were confiscated.
Gilliland feels this bill is necessary to limit future tragedies.
Kids theoretically could have been shot, all sorts of crazy things.
Assemblyman Jack Palkovic voted in favor of the increased regulation on private manufacturers. Federal Constitution Caucus leader Jarrett Tilford expressed tempered disappointment at Assemblyman Palkovic's actions.
We are a little disappointed, but I mean, what can we say? There's definitely some good views about airsoft guns being different colors because they aren't real firearms. However, I just don't agree with that view.
Assemblyman Palkovic defended his vote, citing a promise from the governor on the matter.
Well, my reason for joining that, for voting yes on that piece of legislation, was the explicit promise by the governor, by Karen, that there would be a buyback program, have the government pay essentially for the purchase they had for those guns, or maybe give them a new gun. So if Karen could specify what she was saying during the official committee meeting and her promise to the people of California, that'd be good.
Now, I think we're still a little confused, though, because that is still the government spending more money, increasing the regulation that's involved. But you supported that. You made a promise during the campaign for Speaker that you would be for limited government and so forth. This is a bit of a turn of face for you.
Well, I am for limited government, but my constituents supported this bill, so I want to represent the people that put me here.
Whatever the reasons for its passage, Assemblyman Gilliland is glad his bill will be making a difference.
I'm not saying this will completely end the problem, but it will certainly help it.
For CBC News, I'm Anthony Rollins. Another bill under consideration right now in the Assembly is AB 830, a bill that would allow employers to make the workday as long as 12 hours rather than the current maximum of 8. The bill requires that an employee would have to sign off on this, but some opponents to the bill say that puts employees in a very difficult position. Assemblyman Tilford, the bill's sponsor, gave a steady and reasoned appeal for the bill in committee today.
There are 3 main points that make this the perfect bill: less regulation, more flexible hours, and more family time.
Assemblywoman Henkel responded sharply.
My opposition calls this the perfect bill and that it would help families, but I think if anyone was to examine it, you would find it would do the opposite. We must ask the question of who does this bill actually help, and who does it hurt specifically?
Assemblywoman Henkel and Assemblywoman Shoemate elaborated later on this point of contention.
It says that it's a worker-friendly bill, but it doesn't provide for the fact that employers could abuse this and manipulate their people into signing on to working extra hours.
Assemblyman Tilford emphasized the fact that rather than restricting anyone, his bill is freeing up more options for families and business owners.
It is an option that employees and employers can build together to decide whether they want the 10 or 8-hour days.
But Assemblywoman Hinkle submits that other considerations may be more important.
How can he know what it's like to be a single mother working with taking care of her kids and trying to make a living? You know, it's not a fair, they're not looking at the entire issue.
In the end, the bill passed by a sound majority. After the committee hearing, Assemblyman Tilford was gracious in victory.
They're good debaters. I hope to have a good time debating them on the floor tomorrow.
For CBC News, I'm Joel Reedy. Well, Governor England has been called many things in her time here as governor. Intelligent, brilliant, unmatched, unrivaled, beloved, governor, of course, and now corrupt. Several serious accusations have been raised tonight about the integrity of the governor and her leadership style. Her staff is vehemently defending her, but the CBC News team, with great obligation to the truth and to the people, brings you this report. Governor England has been as much a part of City on the Hill over the past decade as the bills themselves. But this week, a video surfaced showing Governor England accepting what looks like a bribe from Assemblyman Oshiro. A source close to the situation, who asked not to be identified as he was not authorized to speak on the matter, said that it was indeed a gift, a Starbucks gift card, valued at $5. But it doesn't stop there. Citizens for City Sanity, a government watchdog agency, now claims that Governor England has been actively soliciting and accepting bribes for years in the form of Reese's Cups and other gift cards. The group claims that the monetary value of all of Governor England's gifts over the past 8 years at City totals more than $22. England sympathizers have said that the accusations are not surprising. With so many legislators trying to kiss up to the governor, it was only a matter of time before a few of them went too far.
I think she really likes Reese's, and you know, if people know her weak spot, there could be some room for bribery. But she seems like such a strong, courageous lady that I wouldn't think she would take bribes. But Reese's are Reese's, so.
Governor England's staunchest supporters remain dismissive of the accusations.
I've known Karen for many years, Governor England for many years, and I do not believe any of these. I believe they're unfounded, and Governor England has the best in mind for the students here at City on the Hill.
The governor is not known for such things. She would never accept a bribe. It is absolutely outrageous.
I would have to see very strong evidence that she has taken bribes and been doing stuff for corruption, because I don't believe that our governor would do that.
We have not received any bribes.
Everyone has a different view on the so-called bribe footage. Some call it a smoking gun. Others dismiss it as a fraud.
That evidence, I'm not sure whether it was just a gift, but yes, it does kind of tend over to looking like a bribe. Yeah.
Well, you as a media person should know that video evidence is manipulative. It's been photoshopped or video shopped or whatever they do. They couldn't possibly have video evidence for such false accusations.
The CBC News team tracked down Lieutenant Governor Joel Fellerson and asked him about the accusations. Mr. Lieutenant Governor, could we interview you for just a second?
No, I don't have time.
Sir, I'm sorry. We just wanted to get you to respond to some of the calls about the governor's integrity or lack of integrity. Could you talk about that? Has the governor been accepting bribes of any kind, sir?
No comment.
Sir, will the governor heed the calls and step down?
Listen, I thought we went over this before. We've gone over this every year. They always try and impeach her over these things, and it's nothing but baseless accusations.
Sir, if they've tried to impeach her every year, is it possible that maybe some of these accusations are true?
I have no comment.
Sir, the people have a right to know. The people have a right to know, sir.
A bribe, if you look up the definition, there's actually an exchange of something. So I may have received a gift, but I don't know what you're accusing me of giving in return, since no bills have even landed on my desk. So I certainly couldn't be bribed to sign a bill. I haven't signed any bills.
I do think it has caused her to get a little bit reckless, maybe.
You know what? I'm going to accept them as long as it's within the legal limits, and a cup of coffee or a Starbucks card is within the legal limits. Woo!
These are the facts as we now have them. For CBC News, I'm Joel Reedy. And there's a bit of breaking news tonight, as the CBC News team has learned that there is an effort to overthrow Speaker Anderson with a petition for a special assembly. At press time, the petition was only 4 signatures short of the majority needed to call the special session. Of course, the point is rendered somewhat moot as tomorrow the Assembly will convene anyway, but it does appear that Speaker Anderson will have some opposition tomorrow as she continues to try to press her biblical agenda. Well, that's all the news we have for you tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. We look forward tomorrow to seeing how all of this pans out.